like to ask each of the ministers here present to introduce themselves and also perhaps comment on the deliberations over the last 2 days of this important first ever conference on man and biosphere. We have agreed less than 30 minutes ago on a St. Kitts and Nevis ministerial declaration, which encapsulates the key deliberations in terms of the action plan going forward to set up man and biosphere sites in each of the English-speaking Caribbean island states. So, if I may perhaps start with the Honourable Nigel Carthy, Minister of Education and Minister responsible for UNESCO, who has been hosting the conference today, and ask him to make perhaps a few comments.
Thank you very much, members of the media who are here, others. Good evening to all of you, and let me say that it was a pleasure for St. Kitts and Nevis to have played host to this important conference on man and the biosphere. We are very pleased in St. Kitts and Nevis to have been a groundbreaker in this regard. We were able in 2011 to have had a registration, the World Organization for our Man and Biosphere program here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so it was an extremely proud moment for us in St. Kitts and Nevis to have done that and to be host to this important conference this week. I believe that we have had very fruitful deliberations over the last 2 days, and I think that the ideas which have been put forward have been distilled into an important document which will guide the work of our local MAB organizations and committees and our local UNESCO commissions. Again, I am very pleased to have been host to my colleague ministers and to so many of you who have come from abroad. And I trust that as you have your remaining hours with us this evening, perhaps in the early part of tomorrow morning, that you would enjoy your stay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Perhaps I can ask the Honourable Silveria Jacobs to take the floor now. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. My name is Silveria Jacobs. I'm the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports of St. Martin, one of the newest associated member states of UNESCO. This is actually my second conference with UNESCO, and I'm quite pleased to be here to sign on to this agreement between us here as ministers, as well as the expert delegates that were here from other countries who have come together to actually help promote MAB reserves being established in all of our countries. We have also, I think, made important steps to agree to cooperate, and to this I look forward happening in actuality, as we definitely need to grow in this area of recognizing, preserving areas in our country that need to be preserved, that can add to our sustainability, as well as our dependency or diminish our dependency on the outside world. So it gives me a great pleasure to be here. I would like to thank the host country, St. Kitts and Nevis, for providing us with this opportunity, and as well as UNESCO for their contributions and our continued cooperation for us to establish our island, our own country's MAB reserves in the near future.
Thank you, ma'am. Perhaps I could ask the Honourable Kenneth Daru of Dominica to take the floor, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me begin by first, again, thanking the government and people of St. Kitts and Nevis for hosting this conference, and of course acknowledging the assistance of UNESCO towards making this all-important conference possible. The presence of so many of us here in St. Kitts and Nevis indicates the importance that we, the people of the governments and the people of the sub-region, places on the whole issue of sustainable development. And we all know that it's well documented in recent years, the special vulnerability of small island developing states, the problems we face. We have in the very fragile economies and the whole issue of the global financial recession. And coupled with this, we have the whole issues of climate change. And as I said, we know that small and developing states, especially those in this region, we are especially vulnerable to the storms originating in the Atlantic on a yearly basis. And in recent years, we've seen the increased intensity and frequency, and also erratic pattern of these storms. So I say all this to say that in recent years, the governments of the sub-region and the wider Caribbean community have seen the importance of all of this. And if we look around us, we'll see that over the years that special ministries, and we've seen the creation of new ministerial portfolios to include environmental, sustainable development, and climate change issues, and Dominica is no exception. So in light of all of this, we have to find innovative ways within the region to stimulate economic activity and to ensure the sustainable development of our people. Because again, the records or the intellects have told us, and we know that while we are the most vulnerable countries as it pertains to climate change and other external factors, coupled with this, the most vulnerable people in these countries are those most likely to suffer. We talk about those who depend directly on Mother Nature or the natural resources for a living, the fishermen, the farmers, etc. So in light of all of this, we have to, we think that this conference is very timely, and this intervention is very timely. We look forward. We look forward to we also congratulate, first of all, St. Kitts for being a pioneer, so to speak, in the sub-region, for establishing this biosphere reserve. And I'm sure the other countries look forward to getting on board in this exciting venture. And once again, I want to thank you.
Thank you, distinguished Minister. Now I'd like to pass the floor to the Honourable Minister Baptiste, please. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. And good evening to everyone in St. Kitts and Nevis, to my colleague minister. I'm very happy to be in St. Kitts tonight. It is one of the most important meetings I've attended to in 20 years in my government life. Because this meeting, the outcome of this meeting, means that we can affect the lives of all our people, bar none. The way they live, the way they appreciate the environment, and the way they treat the environment around them. And so, I want to thank the people and government of St. Kitts and Nevis for hosting this meeting and for being a trailblazer on this program. You have led the way, and now you're showing us that we too can go back to our respective countries and do the same. I want to thank you for that. The last 2 days have been very hard work for us to come up with this final draft, final document that would lead the way. I want to thank UNICEF for their hard work and commitment to this region over the years, UNESCO for working with us over the years, for continuing to working with us. This document talks about you are willing to go out and look for the funding to assist us to achieve our objective. We thank you for that. But we have to have the will in our country region, the will to do the work, to mobilize our people, to manage sustainably the resources in our countries. My brother from Dominica, Minister, spoke of the storms that frequent our region. One of the good things about that is that 2 or 3 weeks after the storm, our people are very resilient. They bounce back real beautifully. You can never tell a storm had passed. We see what happened. Antigua has 365 beaches. And during the storm, you can't see no beach. Everything is covered. But nature has it that hours after, they all come right back. Our farmers suffer. Our businesses suffer in the country, and mainly the business in the coastal zone suffer tremendously. all this is because of lack of proper management of our coastal zone, sustainable development in our ecosystems and the rest of it. And so I'm very happy that this decision was taken today, that we're going to pay closer attention to all of this in our respective countries and mobilize not only through your organization, but within our own country, all of our resources and our management skills to make it happen. So once again, thank you very much. It's been a very good pleasure being here.
Thank you for those kind words. Minister, last but not least, Ivan Helles, the Minister from Jamaica. The floor is yours, sir.
First, let me say thanks to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis on behalf of the people of Jamaica and my colleague ministers here today. And also let me thank UNESCO for the great work that you're doing in the Caribbean, and it shows your commitment. And it shows what we have to do as a people. The green economy is a real economy, and it's the economy of the day, and countries who fail to participate, citizens will not play an effective role in going forward. So I'm happy today for a couple of reasons. One is that the Caribbean community is coming together at a very critical point in terms of how do we deliver a better economy, a better country for the people of the Caribbean going forward. We have a saying in Jamaica, eat what you grow, grow what you eat. And the more local people can consume whatever they produce within their countries and borders, they're much better off in going forward. So I thank you. Here today, I've learned a lot. One of the things in going forward, why this is so important, we can't predict seasons anymore. When you think you're out of hurricane season, you get a hurricane. When you think drought is over, it's extended. So it happens, and these are some of the critical problems that we face daily. So once again, I applaud your partnership in terms of with Jamaica and the other countries here today. And I thank you, and I look forward in creating this partnership and working together to ensure that this can be a reality going forward for the next generation. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Now, Mr. Hewitt is here from one of the leading radio stations, and I think he has a question to ask each of you. So please ask the questions.
Good afternoon, and any of the ministers feel free to answer this particular question. I notice here in the document, the resolution that has been agreed upon, that you agree to cooperate and work together with UNESCO in order to establish one biosphere reserve in each Caribbean state. Specifically, how do you intend as individual states to cooperate? And is there a specific timeline in which this cooperation will be manifested?
I wish it could be from today. Today was not being so enough. But we have to work together. We have no choice. Because as I said earlier, if a problem develops in Jamaica, you feel it in Antigua. The same kids will feel it the same afternoon. We are in this boat together. We have to work together. We have no choice. Our people and the situation at times demand that we work closer together. And so we've committed ourselves to doing this. I believe that we all have to create a focal point in our respective country, and they will network together and feed us ministers with information so we can create policies and enabling situation to make it happen.
Sorry, in addition to this, I'm not sure if you're privy to having a copy of the action plan, and the final section of the action or the work plan would give you sort of a timeline as to guide you as to how we plan to go about and the time frame in implementing some of these activities. So it would be a good idea so you could probably be guided by this. Yeah.
If I may also, many of us in preparing to come here started to already look at what areas already were being protected in our countries, as well as possible sites for protection, and had meetings with several stakeholders. At least I can speak for myself in that respect. And actually, those stakeholders, those NGOs who in the past have been doing practically all of the work on their own, are encouraged that now a decision is being taken at a ministerial level, at a regional and sub-regional level, where it will have an effect on the work that they have been preaching about for decades.
Yep.
And so I believe the excitement and the information, the networking has started. We've all exchanged information. UNESCO is very, very good at sending out blanket information, as I've noticed again since my first conference with them. And it will be then up to us as individuals to take that information and run with it. Many of us have already established or found sites that we would want to identify, and we have a clear-cut action plan which defines how we can go about that, and we have all agreed on those steps here today. So I think those plans, once they get underway, as Honorable Minister Baptiste just mentioned, it should have been yesterday, so ASAP.
I think in the case of Jamaica, a cabinet note was sent to cabinet in terms of identifying a site, and we have done so already. And work has begun in terms of ensuring that, in terms of location of where the site is and the necessary mechanism which one has to do in terms of with UNESCO and our country. So there's a lot of work which has been done already before we attended this meeting. So there's work in progress.
Maybe I can make a response to the question you've asked, WinFM, and specifically to answer the question, how do we intend to work together? And I think my colleagues have aptly described how we can work together going forward. But just to add a little bit to that, St. Kitts and Nevis is in the peculiar and very fortunate position to have established our MAB project. And what we did yesterday was to ensure that our colleagues had an opportunity to visit the area to see what's happening there. I think one of the very important ways that we have to work together is to share experiences. And I believe that from a superficial glance, it may appear that there's not much to making these projects work and making them come off the ground. But I think that the experience which we have gathered over the last couple of years, since we have been involved, makes St. Kitts and Nevis an appropriate resource in terms of sharing our experiences with our colleagues throughout the region. As I said in my opening remarks, we advise very strongly that there be an effort to ensure that all of our stakeholders are involved, members of the farming and fishing communities, persons who live in the localities of the areas of the biosphere reserves, etc., involvement of the various government departments. That's the kind of experience we want to share, and we believe that if you were to bring all of these people on board, you are almost certain to be guaranteed success as you move forward. So it's about sharing experiences and see how we can piggyback on each other's experiences to improve upon or to establish projects of this kind.
Well, since you have the microphone, Minister Carty, I'll just pose the next question to you. The St. Mary's Biosphere Reserve, some of the challenges that came out in a community town hall meeting early, I think last year, there were issues of illegal sand mining, for example, in the Keys Beach, and there were some other issues that came up. How does the government intend to address some of those concerns, especially as it pertains to illegal sand mining, which is affecting directly the turtle nesting in that particular community?
All right. I want to thank you very much for the question, and I think the question brings out some of the challenges we are going to face as we try to get on board with these important projects.